Hello everyone, this is Sonu Satyadas. In today's session, I'm going to discuss about the Sonarcloud integration in GitHub Actions. So before moving to the demo, I want to brief you about the Sonarcloud and its features. Sonarcloud is a cloud-based code analysis service, and we know that when we build the application, we have to make sure the code needs to be maintainable, reliable, and without any issues, without any bugs. We have to build the application. For that, we can use Sonarcloud to analyze the application code to detect these issues and bugs. So as a cloud service, you don't need to go and install or configure any applications or services for this code analysis. No infrastructure is required. You just need to go and create an account in the Sonarcloud. Means you need to sign up and log in and then start creating projects in your Sonarcloud account. The Sonarcloud supports more than 25 languages, including JavaScript, .NET, Java, Python, and more. So it uses the state-of-art technique in the code, static code analysis. Means it uses the well-defined algorithms to detect the commonly occurring problems or bugs in from our code, whether it is a JavaScript application or it's a Java application or it's a .NET application or it's a Python application. It helps us to identify the issues in our project code. The static code analysis offers an additional layer of verification. So usually as a developer, we manually test our application, we manually do a verification of the code. But on top of that, we can also use the Sonarcloud to perform the code analysis. You can use the Sonarcloud with all the DevOps technologies which is most currently available, like GitHub or Bitbucket Cloud or Azure DevOps, GitLab. So when you use the Sonarcloud, you need to create an organization. Inside the organization, you need to create the projects. So you can easily import the organizations from these DevOps platforms. For example, if you are using GitHub, you can import the GitHub organization into the Sonarcloud, which will become the Sonarcloud organization. Similarly, you can import a repository from the GitHub, which becomes the Sonarcloud project. So the question, can we use this tool for free? Yes, Sonarcloud is a free tool that you can use for your open source project. So if you are building an open source project, you can use this Sonarcloud. But yes, for your private repositories, you need to go for a paid tier. For all open source public repositories, you can have the Sonarcloud free. But for the private repositories, you need to pay for the Sonarcloud services. But the Sonarcloud, you cannot use with your on-premise repositories if your code base is in your on-premise location or on-premise machine. You cannot use the Sonarcloud. But yes, you can use the on-premise version of the Sonarcloud, that is SonarCube, can be used. So typically when you use the Sonarcloud, you are going to detect the issues as well as the security hotspots. So these are the two things that we usually identify using the Sonarcloud. Issues means a problem that needs to be fixed. So it may be a bug, or it may be a security vulnerability or something like that, or it could be some code smell. So code smell, as you can see, this is some kind of code that is not actually preventing the proper functioning of the program, but yes, it may negatively impact your application's execution, and maybe it will be affecting the maintainability of your application. So such things you can consider as code smell. But bugs, these bugs are some kind of error that is preventing the application from running successfully. And these vulnerabilities may be exploited by the hackers or somebody else, so who can access your application's security credentials or some kind of secure information. So anything that is exploited by an external user, which is a part of the security violation, we can call it as vulnerability. So the code smell, bugs and vulnerabilities comes under the issues, and there are some security hotspot. As you can see, security hotspots are the areas of the code that may cause the security issues and therefore need to be reviewed. Yes, it need to be reviewed, but it's not going to be a big problem, but it's always better to recheck this code. An issue is almost always a real problem, while a security hotspot can often be a false alarm. Sometimes the code analysis tool may give a false alarm because of some wrong calculations. But yes, it's still uh, required to go and check what is the problem in the code. You can use the Sonarcloud in different phases of the development. You can use the Sonarcloud in your development IDEs. You will get the uh, linter tools for the IDEs. Suppose if you are using Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code, Eclipse, or the IntelliJ IDEA, any kind of editor you are using, you can use the linter tool for the quality check, and that will give the feedback about your code analysis immediately when you build the application using that ID. Secondly, you can use the Sonarcloud during the pull request. Pull request means if you are creating a feature branch and then adding some features to the code and then trying to merge with the master branch. Before merging, you want to review the code by somebody else, so you can raise a pull request. So during this pull request, that means before merging the code with the master branch or main branch, you can run the Sonarcloud analysis to detect the vulnerabilities and issues. It is also possible to analyze the code when it is in the code base. So there are some kind of issues and security hotspots can be identified only during the code is merged or only at the time of building the application. To find such problems, you need to uh, run the analyzer in the entire code base as a single unit in case of some specific type of languages. And sometimes you need to compile your application and then check the or then use the analyzer. For doing this, Sonarcloud is providing two approaches. One is automatic analysis and another one is CI based analysis. With automatic analysis, the Sonarcloud detect every time that you make a pull request is merged and analyzed a new state of the code. Means in GitHub, whenever you push your code, it automatically start analyzing this. There is no need for any kind of build process. Means you don't need to go and run any kind of build task. No build workflow required. It automatically executes the uh, Sonarcloud analysis. And languages like JavaScript or Python you can use with this automatic analysis. But there are some kind of languages which is compiled languages like Java, C, C++ or .NET. You cannot use this automatic analysis. Such cases you have to go with the CI based analysis that refers to the configuration of Sonarcloud so that it performs the analysis as part of your regular continuous integration process. The continuous integration process means you are executing a CI pipeline or CI workflow in GitHub. Typically, maybe you are building the .NET application or you are building a Java Maven application. In such scenarios, you can execute a CI based analysis. But in such cases, you have to use a scanner tool, so which is available as a software which you need to install in the host machine which is performing this build task. So that scanner is going to perform the CI based analysis and produces the result. Let's start the demo. Here I have an Express API application. This Express API application is connecting to the AWS DynamoDB service, and it offers different RESTful services that can be consumed from the client applications. So I have opened this project in Visual Studio Code. In Visual Studio, you have an extension called SonarLint. So I have already installed this SonarLint extension. So this extension will give the feedback about your code quality. For example, if I go to one of the JavaScript file which I have created, suppose if I have this JavaScript file. Inside this JavaScript files, whenever I declare some variables which is not used, or the variables which is declared using the var keyword but it can be declared using the let keyword or constant, so this sonar lint is giving you the feedback that the code can be replaced to make it more reliable and maintainable. Here you can see in this update method, I have declared three variables, but I have not used these three variables. So you can see a warning which is popped up by this sonar lint that removed this useless assignment to variable location ID, and this is identified by this sonar lint. Similarly, you can have extensions in Visual Studio, Eclipse NetBeans, and also in JetBrains IntelliJ IDEA. So I'm going to push this uh, application code into the GitHub repository. For that, first I'm logging into the GitHub account and creating a new repository inside my account. So let's go and create a new repository. I'm creating a new repository with the name Employee Express API, and let's mark it as a public repository since we are going to use the free plan of the Sonarcloud. So we have to use this public repository. Let's create this repository. So our repository has been created. Now I need to push this application code to this repository. For that, I can use this commands to initialize the Git repository and push this code to the Git repo. So let me open the terminal. In this terminal, I'm running this git init command to initialize the Git repository, then git add command to add all the files into the stage mode, and then committing this changes to the local repository. Now I need to push all these changes to the remote repository. So for that, first I need to add the remote repository, and also here I'm going to use the branch name as main, so I can use these 3 lines of code so that I'm copying it and then executing from the terminal. You can see the code has been pushed into the remote repository. Yes, I have this code available in GitHub. Now we need to set up the Sonarcloud project. So since this is a JavaScript project, it is going to do a static or automatic analysis in our project code and identifies the bugs, vulnerabilities, security hotspots, and the other issues. So let's go to the Sonarcloud. So I have already logged in to the Sonarcloud account with my email ID, and now I need to create a new repository, means new project. So for that I can create a project from GitHub. So when I click on this create a new project, it is asking us to import an organization from GitHub, but yes, you can also do it manually by specifying the organization details and other things, but yes, it is recommended to use the import option. So I click on this import an organization from GitHub. So I need to connect or install this Sonarcloud in my GitHub, means I have to successfully log in to the GitHub account from my Sonarcloud. So this is my organization name. So let me select that, give my GitHub password. So here I need to update the configuration, whether I need to go for all repositories, means do I need to use all the repositories from this organization in my Sonarcloud or only some selected repositories. So if you want to use only selected repositories, you can choose this option, or you can choose all repositories option. So here I'm selecting this all repositories so that I can access all of the repositories from my Sonarcloud account. So let's select all repositories. But in your case, if you are interested, you can select only the particular repositories that you want to connect with Sonarcloud. Now I have connected to the GitHub. This is my organization. So I can give the organization name as the key. So you can see the organization key. So which I want to keep same as my GitHub account or GitHub organization name. Let's continue. And here I can choose a plan whether I need to go with a paid plan or a free plan. So I'll choose a free plan and then create an organization. So this creates an organization, and now we need to create a project. So I have already created a repository which is Employee Express API. I can search and add that repository as the project. Here you can see Employee Express API is there. Let me select and then click on this setup. Since it is a JavaScript project, it will start analyzing this project automatically. This is the automatic analysis of Sonarcloud. So we need to wait a couple of minutes to complete this analysis process, and we will get the result displayed on this particular home screen. The analysis process has been completed for this Employee Express API project, and you can see the latest activity information in the bottom. So you can also go to the main branch. When you go to this main branch, you will see some information, that is 188 line of code and maintainability. Under the maintainability, you will be able to see the code smells 18. The security review, you can see 2 security hotspot and no bugs and no vulnerabilities. If I go to this code smells, we will see the complete list of code smells where you can see the information. Unexpected var, use let or constant instead. So when you click on that, you will see the detailed information where you see the var swagger JS doc can be replaced with the let keyword or constant keyword. Using the automatic analysis, Sonarcloud is able to detect the vulnerabilities or code smells and bugs, and even the security hotspot in my existing project. Now, if I want to use the code coverage, suppose if I am performing or I am executing some test, suppose if I have written some kind of unit testing code using Jest or Mocha or Chai or some other testing framework which I want to uh, uh, include in my code analysis, and I want to detect what is the code coverage uh, for that unit testing code, and that results need to be displayed here. But if I want to use the code coverage analysis using the Sonarcloud, you need to use the uh, CI build process, means you need to use a CI based analysis. For that, you need to create a GitHub workflow. Inside the workflow file, you can specify the Sonarcloud analysis along with the unit testing and code coverage. To create a CI based workflow, first we need to create a personal access token for our Sonar Cloud. So switch to the Sonar Cloud dashboard and then create a personal access token. So I can go to the account, go to the security tab, and then we can generate a token. For generating the token, you can specify a friendly name for the token. So GitHub workflow token, and then generate. This will generate a token that you can copy and save somewhere. So here I'm taking this token and switching to the GitHub repository and creating a secret. So let's go to the repository settings page and then go to the secrets, and in the actions I can generate a new repository secret. So click on this new repository secret, and then you can specify the name of your secret that you want to use in your workflow. Usually we use the secret name as Sonar Cloud underscore token, and then paste the secret value here which you have copied from the Sonar Cloud uh, website, and then create that secret. Now you have successfully configured the secret which you can use in your workflow, and then go to your application and then create a folder with the name .github inside the project root directory. Inside the GitHub folder, you can create another subfolder with the name workflows. Inside the workflows folder, you can create any number of GitHub action workflows. So here I'm creating a YAML file with the name build.yaml. Inside this file, you can create a workflow code. So here you can see this is a GitHub action workflow that can be triggered manually. Here you can see I have specified the trigger type as workflow dispatch. Also, I can execute this workflow when I push some code into the main branch, and also I can run this workflow while creating a pull request. So here inside the job I have a Sonar Cloud job, and this is using an Ubuntu latest uh, runner, and we have couple of steps defined inside this job. As you can see, the first one is the checkout action, and the second one is installing the dependencies, that is yarn, which is installing all the dependencies. And then I have this test just coverage. So just is a unit testing library used for JavaScript applications. So in my sample application I have installed the just as a dependency, and also I have couple of JavaScript files created for testing the unit testing and code coverage functionality. So here you can see I have this calculator.js which contains two functions, sum and subtract, and also I have created the test file which is test.js where I have this unit testing code defined. So you can see I have two unit testing code defined. One is to check the sum function and the other one is to test the subtract function. So these unit testings I want to execute and the code coverage need to be analyzed. So for that I am using this just, and then I have the Sonarcloud GitHub action that is going to do the CI based analysis when I execute this GitHub action workflow. And for executing this Sonarcloud uh, GitHub action, we need to pass the GitHub token as well as the Sonar token. So here you can see the GitHub action, or GitHub action is using a GitHub token, which is a predefined token value. Anything which is starting with the GitHub, it will be a predefined constants or predefined secrets that we don't need to define. So that is taking the GitHub token, and we also have a Sonar token which is reading the Sonarcloud token secret which we have stored inside the repository secrets. So when we execute this workflow, this will start analyzing this code and then generating the reports, including this code coverage. Once it is done, we can now push these changes to the GitHub repository. For that, I can open this terminal, stage all the changes that is made, commit those changes, and then we can push these changes. So here it is going to push all the changes to the remote repository, and now we can switch to the GitHub repository. In this GitHub repository, you can see the workflow is started executing because we have defined on push to the main branch, it will start executing this workflow. So here we have this CI based analysis started. So let's check the status of execution. Here you can see it is installing the dependencies. The test coverage is successfully completed, and you can see the result here. All the tests passed successfully. You can see there are 2 test methods and all the tests successfully passed. And the coverage report you can see here. And you can see there is some issue happened in the Sonarcloud scan. Let's check what is the reason for the failure. Yes, you can see we need to define the project key and the organization name for this Sonarcloud. For that, we need to create the Sonar project properties file inside your project root folder. For that, we can switch to the project and then create a new file in the root folder. Give the name Sonar project dot properties. Inside this file, we can add this configuration, that is Sonar project key, organization, project name, and the code coverage report path. So to get this project key and the organization, we can switch to the Sonar Cloud website, and here is the project name. So we can see this is your project name. Let's copy that. Then to get this project key and organization key. You can click on this information, and here we will find the project key. Let's copy that and put into this project key. And also we can copy this organization key and then put into this organization. Now save these changes and push these changes to the GitHub repository. Git add dot git commit -m properties file edit, and then I can push these changes to GitHub repository. Yes, you can see in the GitHub repository the action is now running. Let's go and check the status. It's now installing the dependencies. Okay, the testing and code coverage is completed, and you can see the two tests which we have written for sum and subtract functions successfully completed, and the code coverage result is displayed. Okay, then there is one more result in the sonar scan. You can see. Okay, you can also find an error for JavaScript projects. The automatic analysis is enabled by default, but when we execute a CI based analysis, we need to go and disable this option. For that, we can switch to the Sonarcloud website, go to administration, and the analysis method. You can see, go into analysis method, and you can see Sonarcloud automatic analysis is enabled by default. We can disable this option by clicking on the switch. So here we have now disabled this automatic analysis for this project. Now we can go back and rerun this workflow. So let's go up and click on this, rerun all the jobs. Now let's recheck the status. It's now starting this job. We can see now the Sonarcloud scan is running. This time it is successfully completed this analysis. Yes, you can see this Sonarcloud CI based analysis is completed, and to view these results we can go back to the Sonarcloud and refresh this page, and we will see the latest activity here. And here you can identify there are 4 bugs under the maintainability, 50 code smells, and 2 security hotspot, and the code coverage only 1.3% of code coverage. You can see when you click on this 4 bugs, you will be able to see some of the bugs that you can identify here. Also, you can see the code coverage, where you will see the lines to cover is 224 and the coverage is just 1.3%. As you see here, this is the complete information about this code coverage. You can also find the issues, security hotspots, and in security hotspots you can see what is the reason, which is why it is marked as a security hotspot. This you can find out the reason why it is marked as a risk and how you can fix this. The method how we can fix this is also defined here. So this is the solution by disabling this X powered by header from this application request and response. Now we can see how we can create and execute the Sonarcloud analysis during a pull request. For that, first I'm going to create a new branch, the git checkout minus p, and I'm creating a feature branch, demo. So you can see I have switched into the demo branch, and I can add some more functions into this calculator.js. So let me add the function multiply, and that is going to return x into y. And also I'm going to add a function to divide, which is going to return x divided by y. Also I want to export this methods multiply as well as divide. Then I can go and create the test methods for this multiply and divide. So I can create a test multiplying two numbers. Then I can specify the test method, expect the calculator dot multiply with two numbers. Maybe I can give 2, 3 is to be 6. And also I can create a test by the two numbers, and write and expect calculator dot multiply with, so divide, so divide 6, 3 and 2. So I have added this code into the feature branch. Then I can push these changes to the GitHub repository, and you can also see I want to execute this workflow during this pull request. So when I open a pull request, I want to execute this workflow. So I'm going to add this changes to staging, git commit and git push minus gen, and all the branches I am pushing to the GitHub repository. Now let's move to the GitHub, and we can see we have this actions. Here we are not executing any action because we have not pushed anything into the main branch, but yes, we can create a pull request here. So here the feature demo has some recent pushes which we have to compare with the main branch and then merge those changes. For that I'm going to create a pull request. So let's create a pull request. So base branch is main and I want to compare it with the feature demo branch. So I can put some comment here, the multiply and divide was added with test cases, and then I can create a pull request. So I have created a pull request. Here you can see it is now start executing a code analysis. So if you go to the actions, you can see here it start executed against this feature demo branch, and once this is completed you will be able to see those uh, uh, analysis details in your pull request as well. Okay, there is some mistake in the code, so I need to go back and correct this inside this. Okay, so here there is a bracket need to be added. Let's remove this extra bracket and then update these changes, and then I can push. So I can go back and recheck this action. Here now it is executing. You can see in the pull request there is one task is in progress. Here you can see the Sonarcloud process is going on. It's the build process workflow is executing. Once it is completed, we'll be able to see the result in the Sonarcloud website as well as in the pull request page. This code, the build process is going on. So now this build process completed and we can go back to the pull request. So here once you click on this pull request, here you will be able to see the Sonarcloud integration on the pull request. You can see here the Sonarcloud quality gate is passed, and the code coverage information you can see, and you will be redirected to the code coverage, and also you can now merge this pull request if everything is completed. So you can also see this pull request information in the Sonarcloud dashboard, where you can see here the feature slash demo branch is raised a pull request, and this is passed, and whatever code coverage you can see 42.9. Okay, inside this test.js, we have 4 lines, and calculator.js 3 lines to cover. So now this is the Sonarcloud integration with this pull request.